started. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your Precision Racing League's American PS4 Project Cars 2 GT3 Championship Series. I'm your host for this evening, Hoodius. Out there in Twitch land, you know me as Old Man Hood. And tonight, that new season smell is in full bloom, in full effect. Race number 1, season number 11. We're going to kick it off the right way, the famed American track, Watkins, Glen. But before we go there, it is a new season. We have new teams, we have new cars, new liveries. So first, let's take a moment, let's jump back, and let's get you guys introduced to all the new sites that we're going to see here in season number 11. First off, we do have to give a huge thank you. Season number 11 actually does have a sponsor, and that sponsor is the race organization Speed Syndicate by PRL's own Dre Simpson. At the bottom of the screen, you see there are multiple ways to get in contact with Dre. So if you're interested in grabbing a ride across one of the many leagues, let Dre know, and he would love to get you hooked up. So again, big thank you to Speed Syndicate for being the sponsor for season number 11, which, for Speed Syndicate, second season in a row in the Ferraris, Dre driving that familiar number 0 blue Ferrari. Drew the Great is going to hop in the red number 61 for this season. Both drivers looking for their first career podiums in the league. Next up, Wall Widers Incorporated. It is the return of Brian Mosser. After having some connection issues, he's got it all figured out, and he was jumping back into a full-time ride. He will jump into the Audi Hot Wheels number 10. The number 5 Audi is still available for anybody looking for a full-time ride. Next up, the new team, Tough Bob Racing. Habab, a PRL veteran, is being joined by Double Tough, a PRL rookie. These drivers are in the Porsches. They're jumping in the Culvert Dynamics number 76 and 77 liveries. Orange Cone Racing is busting out the Acura for the first time. This will be Sandman returning, jumping in one of his favorite cars, rocking out the Bisimoto team liveries, the 161. The 162 is available for anyone looking for a full-time ride. Redline Racing is representing the Mercedes this season. Excise is jumping in the Mercedes once again, but changing liveries. He's going to the number 9, joined by returning favorite, the Barnstorm. After a couple seasons off, he is seeing PRL action. He is jumping in the number 2. Collecting his first win last season, Jaja Lynx is forming the best team. This time trading in his Ferrari for the Lamborghini. He is rocking the number 33, and the other seat for the Lamborghini team is still available for anyone for a full-time ride. Barely Capable has one half of our team champions from last year, Two-Tone Tommy. He's going to be joined by Puma, both of them capturing several podiums. They're going to be rocking out the number 79 and number 80 Audis this season. And the two-time defending team champion, Apex Motorsports, represented by your Season 10 champion, K-Dog. Bubba is going to jump in and join them as they're rocking the real-time liveries number 43 and 93 this season. And that is your full-time lineup for season number 11. Again, big thank you for Dre Simpson and Speed Syndicate for sponsoring this season. All right, we are over 5 minutes into quali. We still have a bunch of time left to go while everybody's still jockeying for track position and getting the cars all settled. Let's go ahead and we have a new test driver for season number 11. Kind of a shy guy, maybe a bit good looking. He's going to jump in a Porsche. He's going to give you a track tour of what it's like to pull a fast lap around Watkins Glen. A fast lap around Watkins Glen begins with a fast and clean exit off of turn number 11. This is going to take you down the front stretch. You have some good length on this straightaway, so it is going to present some passing opportunities. Once you cross the start-finish line, you're going to start going downhill into the tricky braking zone for turn 1. 90-degree right-hander where you want to try to carry enough speed, but not too much where you go wide and the game penalizes you. After a short shoot, now it's time to go back uphill. You're going to go right, left, right, up the S's. With really high curbing, though, that if you tack too much is going to unsettle your car, and guardrails on both sides, it's a very dangerous spot, even just by yourself. Down the backstretch, again, some pretty good length, could set up some overtake opportunities. However, entering the bus stop is a dangerous spot to pass. You're very aggressive on the curbing, to the right, left, back to the right. This is going to enter the carousel, a sweeping right-hander where you're going to pick it up about halfway through. This is going to lead to a short shoot, which is going to take you into the boot section of the GP layout. After a windy left-hander, you're going to attack the curbing, pick up space, you're going to have another short shoot. This is going to take you to the toe of the boot. This is a 180-degree right-hander, however, it's a windy right-hander. You're going to carry some good speed down the bottom of the foot. Again, okay length on here. It can set up opportunities, mainly because entering the heel here is a very hard braking zone. You're going to possibly go all the way down to second gear on some cars to attack the heel. You're going to have another short shoot presenting a left-hander that's about 120 degrees or so. This is going to bring you back onto the main part of the circuit. You're going to have a little bit bigger than a short shoot, we call it. However, turn 10 is not going to be braking. You're just lifting for a brief moment to settle the car. You attack that left-hander, attack the curbing on the right, carrying speed until you brake out just a little bit for turn number 11, and then you're back on the front stretch. And that is how you navigate around Watkins Glen GP in over 1 minute and 40 seconds. And a big thank you to our test driver, who happens to be the retired Season 8 champion of this wonderful league. Alright, we are now over halfway, 6.5 minutes left in qualifying. Let's go ahead and break down what we've missed so far by doing the introductions. Now first, we went through and we told you guys of all the full-time drivers and cars that we had. We got to give a couple shout-outs to some reserve drivers jumping in and riding around. First one being your runner-up, who collected his first win last season as well. Unfortunately, work interfered. He missed the final race, missed a shot at the championship. It's going to be Doge. He's running reserve. Unfortunately, he just can't commit to every week because of work and other life. So he does have the luxury of when he can race, he's not tied down to one car. So here at Watkins Glen, Doge is in the Renault. And also, PRL veteran Zeke is back in action. He's in reserve status as well. Like Doge, jumping in the Renault here for Watkins Glen. Those two drivers filling up a couple spots, giving us 13 drivers here tonight for our debut race. Now, I was going through that. We saw the text pop up. Your defending champion, K-Dog, currently sitting P1. He's been on a tear. Obviously, winning the championship, he's been on a tear. But out of the last 3 points races, 2 hat tricks. Last week, our preseason race, hat trick. Right now, currently sitting P1 with a blistering lap of a 43.4, and he is green right now. K-Dog is looking to better his time, get lower into the 43s. Doge in the boot section of the GP right now. In the 44s, Doge hit a 44 flat, so he has a little bit more time to get out of that Renault. Barnstorm currently sitting P3. He was actually on pace in our practice lobby of hitting a 43 until I jumped out, so that Mercedes does have some speed on it. Jaja as well was part of a group in that practice lobby before K-Dog threw down crazy laps. As a matter of fact, he just ran a 43 too. K-Dog is absolutely blistering. In our practice lobby, we had 8 guys within a second of one another. Jaja was part of that group. Excise, Bubba, Tommy, Puma. So we have just an incredibly close field. Even Zeke as well was part of that group. Now, we're going to notice one name is missing off this leaderboard that's very important for this season, and that is the name of Dre, our season sponsor. Absolute heartbreak. Dre was very excited to bust out his Ferrari. He was talking about 45s, 46. That would put him about mid-pack right now. Unfortunately, Dre lives out in the boonies here in Florida. Got a bit of a thunderstorm going on. Some lightning cracked. Dre is without power right now, so there is an invite waiting for him. So we have some mayhem going on right now between Jaja and Brian. Or excuse me, that was Drew the Great and Brian. But Dre is hoping that he can get power back and jump in the next 3 minutes, but unfortunately, and Dre is in chat now, the entire town is dark. So, just tough break for Dre. We know how much he was looking forward to it. Now, Season 11, though, is a little bit different than we've done in the past because, points-wise, there is a drop week. So, even though Dre is super excited to race tonight, everybody between races 1 and 11 are going to have a drop week. So, championship-wise, you know, you want to be at every race, but this won't be a killer for Dre's championship hopes. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty now, under 3 minutes. So at best, we're going to see drivers get 2 more times at it. We also have a handful of guys in the pits. They're going to have to be exiting here soon if they want to get in on the action and try to improve their time, except for that beautiful car. He is going to be staying there. K-Dog right now, almost a full second over the field. Absolutely blistering lap by your defending champion. In his first time in the Acura. Traded in the Audi for the Acura with Bubba. Oh, he's a 10th red that time, so K-Dog might not be able to improve. Let's look at Doge as he goes down the backstretch, about to enter the bus stop. No delta there, so Doge just might be on a fresh lap. I got Barn coming to the start-finish line. Can he improve? Can he close the gap? Not that time. He had issues as he is over 2 seconds off the pace. Now with 1 minute and 40 laps going, this is it. Everybody's going to cross the line now. They get one last shot. Jaja in the Lamborghini. The lone Lambo out in the field. Sitting 4th. Excise about to cross the line. Alright, that was his outlap. No time popped up, so Excise, this is his last shot. Currently sitting P5. Bubba is sitting P6, and he cannot do any better than that. The Acura is parked in the pits. He's not going to make out to get a fresh lap in. Tommy working his way up the S's. This is going to be it for Tommy as well. He's not going to be able to make it back in 50 seconds, so this is his last shot. Zeke just exited the boot. Zeke is going to be able to cross the line and get one more lap in. Whoa! Very dangerous off of turn 10 there. On the curbing, was able to correct it. All right, Zeke's going to cross the start-finish line, and he's going to start his final lap. Actually, Zeke, even though he had that scary moment, great lap. He went green. He jumps up to P4, and he is going to park his Renault. That's going to be it for Zeke. Awesome, awesome job for the NASCAR veteran. Brian Mosser is going to do no better than 9th as he is in the pits. Matter of fact, Doge has called it. He is in the pits as well. Eyes now on Barnstorm. This is it. Can he improve? Yes, he can. He is going to clip Doge. He is going to be the second driver to enter the 43s. Just by a fraction of a second, but give Barn P2. Jaja just crossed the line. He is going to stay in 5th. Can Excise knock him off? coming off the final turn. Nope, X-Ice is off pace. What about Tommy behind him, racing to the line in his Audi? Not going to improve. This is going to leave it down to Puma now. Two-Tone Tommy's teammate in the Acura. Coming towards the toe of the boot. He's going to have plenty of time. There's still a minute left in overtime. He's going to make it back to the start-finish, no problem. As K-Dog limps it around, he is not going to put down one more heater. He is very, very happy and very, very comfortable with that time. All eyes now on Puma, currently sitting P10, exiting the boot, re-entering the circuit. He is less than a tenth behind Brian Mosser for ninth. Got a decent gap to his teammate, though. Coming off 11, down the front stretch, here comes Puma. It's going to be the last time lap in qualifying. And he is not going to improve. Actually, that lap got disallowed. We saw the triangle pop up for just a moment there. So that is going to be it for Puma. And just like the way he ended last season, K-Dog is going to start this season off with a bang. He will start from the pole. Hey, Jaja, since we didn't have a full field, I'm going to try commentating like this to see if maybe it helps with some of the glitches that we had when I was in broadcast mode and trying to host that way. And Kyle, what's going on, buddy? There we go. There's the official times. K-Dog, your pole sitter by a, well, really big margin. 3/4 of a second over Barnstorm, making his return, sitting a nice P2. Doge is going to start third. Zeke fourth. Jaja fifth. Excite sixth. Bubba, Tommy, Brian, and Puma are going to round out your top 10. With Sandman, Double Tough, and Drew rounding out the rest of the field. Alright, so we got a fresh 2-minute timer. Everybody, now very important, all the drivers are going to go in and bump up that fuel gauge just a little bit. Make sure they have all the fuel there to get them to the end. For Jake and for anyone else who's kind of new to this league, there is a mandatory pit stop that you have to make at some point during the race and change tires. Now, with GT3 cars, you cannot change tires and fuel up at the same time like we're used to seeing with like NASCAR and IndyCar. So what is the fastest for these GT3 guys is to come in and do tires only. They are going to start the race with as much fuel as they need to get them to run these 45-minute timed races. Now, tonight is a little bit of an asterisk. We had the lobby issues. We had to restart. So it's going to be a 50-minute timed race. However, the first few minutes are going to be a slow-paced, pacing lap. Let everybody get into their qualifying positions. Now, we did see a couple people gamble and lose in the preseason race when it came down to fuel mileage for these timed races. Normally, guys are used to our lapped format that we did for so many seasons. I highly think now that we're not going to see anybody, risk it like we saw during preseason. These cars are going to have plenty of fuel. It's just going to be a matter of when to pit for the tires. All right, now as we're getting synced up, the lights are going to go out. And even though it's going to be the start of the timer, it's not going to be a mad dash down into turn 1. The guys are going to get themselves moving. They're going to get plenty of room, and they're going to get into qualifying order. And our pole sitter is going to have to move up way through the field as K-Dog was back in 11th place. And we almost had issues with K-Dog and Jaja. K-Dog needs to slow down and not be as impatient. I don't want anybody getting damaged right off the bat. Alright, K-Dog takes the top spot. Barn is going to tuck in behind him. Then we'll have Doge go and tuck in behind Barn. Zeke, our two reserve drivers in the Renaults, starting 3rd and 4th. Alright, Jaja's in 5th. Excise in 6th. There's a little bit more speed behind that Mercedes. I know there is, so it'll be fun to see Excise drive up, as well as Bubba in the Acura. Got got Tommy in 8th, Brian in 9th, Puma in 10th, Sandman in 11th, Double Tough in 12th, and then Drew rocking 13th. Now the crew is on the backstretch. Everybody getting in order. And I have to give a shout out. I just heard, waiting for this to refresh here, my apologies. Crick Crack, thank you so much for the follow. Very, very much appreciated. If you're a race fan, I'm glad you found the channel. Sorry about all the lobby issues that we had tonight. But we're keeping our fingers crossed. Everything's looking good now. El Tranza? Wow, thank you so much for the cheers. The pennies are very much appreciated here in the Hoot household. All about the coins. Thank you so much. Alright, we're in the boot now. K-Dog's leading the field. This is just a pace lap. We're going to be single filed. I'm going to stop trying to go backwards through the field because there's that terrible camera angle. See, the guys are weaving back and forth, trying to make sure they keep their tires warm. However, this is noon in summertime, so I doubt tire temperature is going to be too big of an issue on the cool side. It's going to be single file now. When we come off the final turn, it's going to be on K-Dog. Anywhere between the start of pit wall and the start-finish line, he is allowed to go. And El Tranza now throwing out 100. Thank you so much. That is very, very awesome. Here we go, turn number 11. The anticipation's building. We're going to have 47 minutes at the Glen. And K-Dog goes. He let Barn get a little bit close and then jumped on it, so K-Dog is going to get a couple car lengths. Single file restart. Bubba with a strong move. Looking on the inside of Excise in turn 1. Backs it down a little bit. It's a dangerous turn with how bumpy it is on the inside. Bubba's going to tuck it back in. Tommy's going to be on his bumper. Up through the S's. Everybody is looking clean so far. Oh, Jaja with a little bit of an issue. Excise tried to get him on the outside. They ran out of real estate. That's going to allow Bubba to take P6. Bubba with a head of steam, though, can't quite close in on Jaja all the way. But it looked like Jaja hit the right side barrier. X tried to go out on the left side. And unfortunately ran out of room and caught the barrier himself. Minimum damage, if any. And we saw Bubba go wide there in the carousel. It's going to allow Jaja to hold on to 5th place. Excise is going to close in on the back of Bubba as they enter the boot. Starting to spread out just a little bit up front. Though we're nice and packed here in the midfield. The battle for 5th. Got Bubba on Jaja. Excise on Bubba. Tommy is joining the battle. K-Dog has opened up over a second lead on Barnstorm. Once we see how this battle plays out a little bit, we'll go up front. But so far, all 13 drivers looking clean. Nobody's had any issues. We had that little bit of contact between Jaja and Excise. Exiting the S's. Whoa! A scary moment there for Brian Mosser. Going back onto the track from the boot. Saw the rear end of his Audi kick out. He was able to hold it on. There we go. First lap is in the books. Bubba's taking a look on Jaja. He's going to tuck it back in. While this battle is forming, let's jump it out. Your defending champion, K-Dog, trying to start the season off the way he ended it. He's got the pole. He's got an early lead. Barnstorm making his return to the league after a couple seasons off. Qualified second. He has got Doge, your points runner-up from Season 10, breathing all down his neck. Zeke, the NASCAR Heat veteran for the PRL. Jumping in reserve status in the Renault. He's holding tight on 4th. Being a NASCAR guy, very familiar with Watkins Glen, and it's showing right now. Jaja now starting to get a little bit of breathing room for Bubba. Bubba's going to be under attack from Excise, as this cameraman needs to focus and find a race car. There we go. Tommy has it tucked in behind Excise as well, so battle for 5th. Still 4 cars, pretty well grouped for it. And we just got a small breath of air until we go back to the Audi of Brian Mosser. We saw the fishtail last lap as he left the boot. Cost him a little bit of time. However, no damage to the car. No harm, no foul. Puma, Happy Puma is racing with us. He was the one getting disconnected while we were remaking the lobby, so he's got his Audi under control right now, running in 10th. Got Sandman in 11th. Double Tough, Rocket 12th, and Drew right now in 13th. So really the only change for position that we've had... Oh no! We've got a lot of change for positions. It's going to be X-Ice. He had issues exiting the booth. So X-Ice was the only driver to lose a position early, and now he's lost them all, and he is rear in this field after those issues. Not seeing a ton of damage on the car, so I'm wondering if X-Ice just whipped it, and then unfortunately the whole field came, and he just had nowhere to go. So X-Ice now trying to get a draft off the Ferrari of Drew. Trying to work his way back up the field. He's still got plenty of time. He's got 43 minutes to do it. However, there is no caution system or safety cars or anything like that, so X-Ice is going to need strong pace. And we've just had a pass for 5th. Bubba, with a strong run on the backstretch, is going to take position before getting into the bus stop over Jaja. So give Bubba P5. That Acura is moving nicely right now. Bubba is up 2 from his qualifying spot. And up front, too, we've also had a change. As K-Dog is starting to run away with this, he's got a 4-second gap. Doge has overtaken Barnstorm for the battle for 2nd. So Barnes Mercedes now is the meat in the Renault sandwich between Doge and Zeke. You see, we got a 3-car battle for 2nd. Just about 1 second separating those 3 drivers. And Jake, pits are always open. It doesn't matter if you wait for the first minute or the second to last lap. Whenever you want to pit, you can pit. It's just you have to change tires at some point. So we're going to see some guys like K-Dog is normally good with tire wear. He normally doesn't wait till around half point. He can go 30, maybe even 35 minutes before he changes tires. And a lot of these guys who may suffer with their setup, you might see them try to cut the race in half and get those fresh tires. Barn didn't have the cleanest laps, fell back from Doge there. It's now a 2.5 between 2nd and 3rd place. He's got Zeke breathing down his neck. Bubba holding on to 5th place, trying to see if he can't close that gap and join Barn and Zeke for the battle for 3rd. Jaja keeping it tucked in behind Bubba. Tommy not too far back. He's definitely within range if those drivers start mixing it up or have a mistake. Brian Mosser, he's up to 8th place. About 3 seconds behind Tommy, though. He's got Puma starting to breathe down his neck a little bit. A couple of Audis there in 8th and 9th. Sandman jumps into the top 10 with the issues with X-Ice. Got Double Tough. It's going through the bus stop. The lone Porsche out in the field. And then X-Ice has picked off Drew. He's got 1 spot back. As he tries to race his way back up through the field. We jump back to the battle for 3rd. Zeke still trying to keep it close to Barn. Make him feel the pressure, see if he can get him in the mistake. You see Jaja, Bubba. Actually, so we've had a little slip up by Bubba. Bubba was running 5th. He has lost 2 positions. Jaja has regained 5th. Tommy is now up to 6th. So Bubba looks like he may have just had a bad turn, had to gather the car up, dropped a couple positions, no damage, and there is damage. That's going to be the Renault of Zeke, unfortunately facing the wall. That's between turns 10 and 11. He found a gap. He's able to back the car up. Backed it up a little bit too far, though. Rear-ended the wall. He's going to rejoin the track. He's got 2 more cars coming. He can join safely. Tough break for Zeke, who had a great start to this race. Apparently Zeke is not overly concerned. He's weaving the car a little bit, trying to clear the marbles off those tires. Damage doesn't look terribly bad. In the track tour, we talked about turn 10. The guys like to go fast. You don't brake for that turn. You just lift and get back on it. The way he was parked in that wall, my guess would be Zeke ran wide, got onto the curbing, and it just shot him sideways. So like X-Ice, Zeke with an early mistake was falling through the field. Now he's got a lot of room to try to make up. And as well, Puma has had big issues Puma's car is bouncing around in the S's. Tough break for Puma as that Audi is taking more and more shots. So I will not be surprised if Puma is the first car to hit pit road with the amount of damage that he has on his Audi. Zeke now trying to make his way back into the top 10. He's chasing down Double Tough. Excise, however, is due to the issues with Zeke and Puma and now finds himself in 9th place trying to chase down Sandman. And now with the issues to Zeke, so actually we had almost some door-to-door contact there with Bubba and Jaja. So that's going to move Tommy up to 4th place. Bubba, as we just saw, has overtaken Jaja for 5th. Jaja's Lambo is wiggling around a little bit. Not sure what's going on, how his tires are holding up early into this race, but Jaja is kind of yo-yoing back and forth from his 5th position. Through all this mayhem, Brian Mosser finds himself moved up to 7th. And again, shout out to Sandman, currently holding 8th, but he's got a hard-charging Excise in his Mercedes closing in behind him. Honda, thanks for hopping in the chat, buddy. Glad to have you, and we'll shout out to your boy, K-Dog. He started from the pole. He's led this race from the beginning right now, and he's got a nice 5.5 second lead. And Jake, yes, fuel weight is definitely a factor in this game. So that actually does work out in K-Dog's favor. So not only does he get, good tire wear, but he, if he waits that long to pit, then he has fresh tires on a low-fueled car. That's a recipe for getting the fast lap of the race. And actually, he didn't even pit. It's going to be our first retiree. Puma, I don't see him anywhere on the board. That's going to be it for that Audi. Tough break for Puma. Unfortunately, the car just took a lot of damage up in the S's. Now, we saw Zeke with the issues that he had the lap prior between turns 10 and 11. He has come in, he's made his pit stop, repaired the damage, he's got his fresh tires. Now, Zeke has to challenge those tires to make them last almost 37 minutes. Whoa! Barn, hold it! Barn eats wall. So, I'm assuming that's what happened to Zeke a couple laps ago, but instead of overcorrecting and going to the right, Zeke just locked up the brakes and went left. Turn 10, the curbing on the exit, got the better of Barn. That nose is crunched up in the Mercedes. That's allowing Tommy to catch up. This is the battle for 3rd right now. A lot of front-end damage for Barn on that Mercedes. You see it's really just punched in. Up through the S's. If he has any... Man, that car bounced. So if he has any suspension damage, he's going to see it the most here through the S's. We're going to keep an eye and see what kind of run Tommy gets. Tommy was actually with a pretty good run. A little bit far back, though. As they enter the braking zone for the bus stop. Oh, no! Barn caught a little bit of grass! We got door-to-door. So, luckily, it was just door-to-door contact. Both drivers braced for it. Nobody went out of control. That's going to give 3rd place to Tommy, 4th to Barn. The PRL, we credit ourselves on sportsmanship and everybody racing everybody clean. I think with that, Tommy just didn't know exactly where Barn was. He saw him slide out and didn't know how far he slid out. So, slight door-to-door contact. And now Barnes with a little bit of a connection issue there as we saw his car hop. But that's going to give P3 to Tommy. The question is Barn going to pit now? How bad is that damage? How slow is it making? As you see, he's so far holding up with Tommy. Not letting him fully get away. But we know Barn had a fast race car. You see Jaja and Bubba as they swap positions back. Barn again. We saw the rear end of the car slide on that curbing. And here he comes. Barn is gonna... And actually, Barn just got himself disqualified. Barn went flying into pit road. And that's going to be it for the Mercedes driver. We mentioned Barn has taken a couple seasons off. Back in Project Cars 1, you could race into pit road full bore, no problem. Project Cars 2, that is a disqualification, and that's just what happened to Barnstorm. So, unfortunately, his race went from bad to over. Just like that. And speaking of bad, second place Doge has just lost it exiting the bus stop. K-Dog is now looking at a blistering 13.5-second lead. Your defending champion is feeling wonderful right now. He has a huge lead. The Acura is hooked up right now. He doesn't need to push it. Doge, on the other hand, he's got speed in that Renault, but with that mistake, that's allowing Tommy to catch up. Couple seconds back from Tommy, we're looking at Jaja. Now up to 4th. Oh no! Bubba whips it around. And that Acura has damage, so that was the second time Bubba has whipped it around. That's going to give P5 to Brian Mosser. That nose damage on Bubba looked pretty significant, so I wouldn't be surprised if that Acura is the next car we see hit pit road. And Barn Buddy, yeah, I don't know if you had the broadcast on, man, but unfortunately, it's not like Project Cars 1. You can't go flying into pit road like that. I'm gutted for you too, man. You had a great car. And as we go back to the track, so again with the yo-yo jobs, Jaja has issues. He is going to let Bubba back by. X-Ice is now joining the battle for 5th. And by running a clean race right now with everybody around him having issues, the returning Brian Mosser running that Hot Wheels Acura is up to 4th place. An amazing run for this young man. And Jaja, the front of that Lambo is busted as well. Jaja's in. Bubba stayed out. X-Ice is starting to catch up on Bubba, so this is the battle for 5th going on. Oh, Barn, no, the pit limiter doesn't slow you down. It just caps you at pit road speed. So you got to get on the brake and then hit the limiter. You've got to slow yourself down. Here we go. X made a look, entering the bus stop, thought better of it. Gave Bubba some breathing room. You know, he knows Bubba's had some issues. That Acura is not 100% right now, so X-Ice doesn't want to, push the issue in a dangerous spot. This is the closest battle we have for position right now, though I am keeping an eye on the battle for second place. Tommy is catching up to Doge a little bit. Both drivers falling back as K-Dog now has a 16-second lead. And after both drivers had to make pit stops for repairs, we have a battle for 10th going on as well as Jaja and Zeke. Both drivers top 5 earlier in this race, now battling it out for 10th. And Doge is in. Doge, we saw the aftermath of his spin. The front end of that Renault is bashed in. Doge is coming in. Bubba as well, he's bringing his Acura in. So X-Ice now is up to 4th place. X-Ice still has to make a pit stop along with the other top 4 drivers, but X-Ice having a great recovery after that early spin and getting trapped off-road, having to let the whole field by. He's racing his way back up. And we got to give a shout out to rookie Double Tough right now, the lone Porsche out there in the field. With all these issues and pit cycles going on, currently finds himself 6th. Sandman. And the original Acura, yeah, we're calling out K-Dog and Bubba, the original Acura Sandman right now, up in 5th. Though issues, maybe connection issues going on there as the car is skidding around through the bus stop and the carousel. The field now is spread out because of these pit stops, and Bubba has a long pit stop going on right now. He's finally going, but Jaja and Zeke are already up through the S's. So a lot of damage on the Acura Bubba there. This is the closest battle that we have right now, the battle for 9th. Actually, this is the closest battle we have now, correct? As Doge is catching up to Double Tough, this is the battle for 6th place. Doge pitted for repairs. He has fresh tires. Double Tough has 20 minutes going on that set of tires, so Doge with the advantage right now. Coming up towards the heel. Double Tough not able to fully accelerate because he was on the curbing. That's going to give Doge a run on the outside. Guys are side by side as they re-enter the GP circuit. And nice outside move for Doge. The fresh tires are the difference maker there. Great respectful racing out of both guys, giving each other plenty of room. Double Tough knows he's running a different race than Doge right now. Doesn't want to push the issue. Had the Renault make a nice outside move, otherwise not really forcing it. Just goes back to the sportsmanship that we were talking about earlier. Got to give some camera love up front. K-Dog, 19-second lead. We're almost halfway through this race right now. That Acura is absolutely on fire. Hitting all his marks, just nice and smooth and consistent right now. And a big shout out, K-Dog's teammate from last season, Tommy, helping K-Dog in Apex Motorsports win the Manufacturers Championship. This time he's teaming up with Puma. Unfortunately, Puma had the DNF from the wreck, but Tommy trying to keep his team going right now with a strong second place run. Brian Mosser, qualified 9th, has kept that Audi nice and clean. Nice and consistent. We've seen some rear end wiggles, but nothing bad out of Brian. He's currently sitting in the final podium spot right now. Brian has missed a couple seasons because his internet did not like Project Cars 2. He's got himself a new provider, got himself hooked up. The connection is stable. He's able to rejoin the league. He's making the best of his comeback race right now. As we jump back to the battle of 9th, Zeke keeping about the same distance, if not, Jaja gained a little bit on him. It's about a 1.5 seconds difference between the Lamborghini and the Renault right now. This is the closest battle we have for position. And then Bubba in 11th place had that long repair pit stop. He's the only car a lap down right now. However, the leaders all have to pit. Bubba will get his lap back. Alright, Drew is going to bring his Ferrari in now, representing Speed Syndicate, the title sponsor for this league here in season number 11. And Jake, I mean, if your speed tests go good, you have under 100 ping, and your download goes good, then once we get you in the PSN chat, the guys are always running practice lobbies and practice races, and then we just kind of eyeball and see how you are around other cars, make sure your car doesn't jump around. As you have seen in this broadcast, not everybody is perfect. There's still a hiccup from time to time, but it's not a complete lag fest. That's really the only thing we try to avoid. Zeke now closing the gap in. Jaja had issues. Zeke has gained a second on the Lambo. Watching all the other deltas on the scoreboard. If anything else gets close, we'll look at it. However, right now we're going to... Matter of fact, something we have not done with this race. Let's hop on board with Zeke. Spend a little time in with the Renault. Down the flat of the boot, coming up towards the heel. One of the bigger braking spots you have on this circuit. Both drivers pretty equal throughout. We are now 25 minutes to go. We have reached the halfway point of this race. We have seen almost half the field. No, Zeke! Zeke lost it again in turn 10. That's where he lost it earlier and found himself face first in the wall. However, this time, it's just a whip around. There goes K-Dog. He's going to get her pointed straight now. No damage, but a lot of lost time for Zeke. Unfortunately, the commentator curse is real, and it just bit the NASCAR Heat veteran. Zeke ripping some donuts between turns 10 and 11. Tough break. but still top 10. Had a couple DNFs in this field, has shortened up that scoreboard, but every point counts, even for reserve drivers. You know, Zeke, he can't dedicate himself to a full season. Work may interfere at times, but anytime he's in the race, same with Doge. Anytime they're in the race, they want to perform. They want podiums. So both guys having to dig deep now and going to need an assist. And Crick Crack throwing out some Octopus love with the emotes. I like that. Not enough emote spam in this chat. Here we go. So scheduled pit stops are starting to happen for Brian Mosser and X-Ice. 3rd and 4th place are pitting together. Keep an eye on Sandman. Sandman's going to stay out. This is going to jump Sandman up to 3rd place. Granted, he still has to pit. But a lot of these guys who are still trying to find their ways in these cars, anytime they move up the leaderboard like that, it's a special moment. So shout out to Sandman, who's keeping that Acura clean. Normally this broadcaster, not a fan of yellow, that Busy Moto, that is a nice livery. So, happy to see him keep it clean. He will come in for tires and lose a couple spots. But having a good run right now. Doge behind him. Doge made the pit stop. Lengthy pit stop for some repairs. You see the front end of that Renault is crunched up. Handling is not quite what it was when he was running in 2nd place. He's trying to chase down Sandman. Brian and X-Ice have both dropped 4 positions. They're now down to 7th and 8th. Jaja's gotten around him, but Jaja is on very old tires. Double Tough still has to pit. And then see if they can chase down Doge. They're looking, Brian and X-Ice are looking at about a 25-second differential back to Doge. All drivers making their pit stops. Alright, exiting the boot. The battle for 3rd. As K-Dog and Tommy both have yet to pit. Out of turn 10. Sandman's coming in. Sandman's going to relinquish 3rd place. Saw him with a very sportsman move go down to the pit road. Broke early. Make sure Doge knows what he was doing. Didn't run into the back of him. Doge is going to get back into a podium spot now, looking at 3rd place. But like Jaja, Doge on some old tires. Brian and Mosser and X-Ice are going to have to use every bit of their new tires. Actually, if I recognize that car right, behind this battle, now it's the battle for 6th place. As Double Tough is pit, Sandman is pit, so move Brian and X-Ice up to 5th and 6th. That is K-Dog in the background, looking to have over half the field lapped. However, K-Dog still needs to make his pit stop. We saw X-Ice take a little peek in turn 1, tucked it back in. Following Brian up through the S's, though. X-Ice with a great run, exiting the X. He's going to look to the right side on the back straight. Coming towards the bus stop, side by side. Brian does the smart move. Oh no, Brian! Hold it, baby. Okay. Woo! Scary moment for Mr. Mosser there. As giving Brian props, doing the smart move, not pushing the issue through the bus stop. Though, entering the bus stop, Brian caught a little bit of grass, wung it out a little bit, but corralled her up. So, great catch there for Brian. Though he's got some dirt and some grass, he's got to kick off those tires. And Crick Crack, thank you so much. Throwing out the rates, man. Alright, let's go through the field now. If we've had a little bit of excitement, let's let this breathe a little bit. K-Dog, your leader, your pole sitter, your defending Season 10 champion. He's led every bit of this race so far. He's just put 6th place Brian Mosser a lap down. Brian being very courteous, serving the blue flag there. Cost him some time to X-Ice, however. Brian did not want, as a matter of fact, gives him a little headlight love into K-Dog. Those gentlemen have raced a long time together through NASCAR Heat, F1, Project Cars. A lot of respect going on. So Brian, make sure he gave K-Dog a ton of room. Didn't want to impede him. Tommy with a great run. He qualified. Oh no, that was Sandman. Behind Tommy, we saw Sandman in the background lose it a little bit and smack the wall. A little door damage. Didn't look too terrible, but Tommy's ran a clean race so far, comfortably in second place. He still has to pit, though. He's got almost 40 seconds on Doge, but he will have to make a pit stop. About 23 and a half seconds behind K-Dog. Doge running second. Lost the car, smashed it in the front end, pit, put a little Band-Aid on it, did a little bit of loving. Got the Renault just fast enough, got tires on it. So Doge does not have to pit again, but he's been on these tires a while. Though he does have a pretty comfy 25-second gap back to Jaja. Jaja had to pit early as well for damage and tires. X-Ice has made his pit stop. This is the battle for fourth going on. X-Ice with much fresher tires, trying to chase down the Lambo at Jaja. As the leader is catching up to both those cars, again with a weird focus out in Never Never Land. There's K-Dog, coming up on the battle for fourth. These guys are going to want to duke it out, but also have to be respectful when serving the blue flag. Right now, they're just hoping that K-Dog pits anytime soon, so they don't have to worry about him. They can duke it out for fourth place. First and second place still need to pit. The rest of the field has pitted. X-Ice! Heavy on the curb. Does a great job keeping the Mercedes underneath him, but that could have been very, very scary. K-Dog stays out. He has yet to pit. See Jaja snaking on the front stretch, trying to stop the slipstream from helping X-Ice. X-Ice trying to follow him. We had a call for it, so let's do it. We're jumping in the cockpit of the Mercedes as X-Ice with a strong run through the S's. This is how he overtook Brian Mosser. Can he make a move on Jaja? Jaja's going to hold the outside. X-Ice looking to the inside. Let's go trackside. Jaja's going to back out. X is going to run wide, though. Is this going to give Jaja a chance? Jaja looks back at it. And at this point, K-Dog has caught them, so X-Ice is having to give room to K-Dog. X-Ice tucks it in behind the leader. What X-Ice is hoping to do right now is use K-Dog as a pick. K-Dog, obviously the fastest car out on the circuit. He has led from start to right now. He's never relinquished the lead. If X-Ice can keep it close to K-Dog, try to use K-Dog as a pick for when Jaja has to move over and serve his blue flag. Can X-Ice be there to get that position? X-Ice falling back a little bit, though. Entering the heel of the boot. Jaja is going to serve it there. That's going to be a good move by Jaja, because here comes the left-hander. That's going to impede X-Ice's progress. So Jaja served the blue flag and held position. X-Ice was not able to use our leader as a pick like he was hoping to. We're going to jump back in with the Mercedes. Coming off turn 11. As our leader starts lap number 20. Only 3 cars currently on the lead lap. However, several cars are going to get their lap back once K-Dog pits. K-Dog with a little bit of issue in turn 1 there. You see Jaja right on his tail. Jaja trying to use the slipstream, get whatever benefit he can from K-Dog. X-Ice's Mercedes is just really hooked up through the S's. He has been able to make it through that section faster than any other car we've seen. He's got to run on Puma, but he's running out of room. Gets on the brake a little early. Doesn't want to make contact entering the bus stop. Heated battle for 4th place going on right now. We also have a battle for 6th forming as I see Zeke has closed the gap on Brian Mosser. Let's take a peek back at that. 2 different battles for position going on right now. We're keeping an eye on both. Jaja creates a little bit of breathing room up in the toe, jumping back at Zeke. As now this is a 3 car, I'm looking in the side view mirror, Bubba has joined the battle. So 6th place Brian Monster is under battle, he's feeling the heat from Zeke, and Zeke is definitely feeling it from Bubba right now. Brian kicks up a little bit of dirt at the Renault. as we go back to the battle for 4th, trying to juggle between these battles going on. And as I'm looking at the scoreboard, Sandman is not far behind as well. So if any of the battles for 6th, those guys have issues. Sandman, it is a 20-second gap, but that could be a position. We'll see. Bubba has gotten around Zeke. Bubba now trying to chase down longtime F1 teammate Brian Mosser. Many times you've seen those gentlemen driving the Haas F1 cars together. Not teammates in this league. They're wanting to duke it out for 6th place. X-Ice that time did not get quite the good run that we've seen him have in the past through the S's, but he's still right there with Jaja. Great run through the bus stop. Closes right on his rear fender. Through the carousel, X-Ice stomps on it. Can't quite make it stick. Jaja's going to hold the spot for now. Bubba chasing down Brian Mosser. Oh no! We're having connection issues with Brian right now. His car is teleporting. That's really unfortunate for Bubba. Bubba's got to keep it safe right now. Hopefully Brian has the broadcast on. He's hearing this and he moves over. He doesn't want to risk any damage. He doesn't need to lead the race, but right now he needs... Matter of fact, we see the headlights flashing. Is that a sign? He's trying to give some room. If he has another lag spike, this could be dangerous. Bubba's going to look to the left of Brian. Couldn't quite get the traction. We saw him kick up some dirt. Seems Brian's connection is stabilized a little bit, though. But Bubba and Zeke right now, the faster cars. Bubba with a great run off turn 11. Tucked it in. Keeping the slipstream. He's going to swing out wide, going down into turn 1. Acura and Audi battling it out for 6th place. And Bubba's going to clear him. Now it's Zeke's turn to try to chase down. And here we go. We missed it. We were watching that previous battle. The S's finally worked for X-Ice in full force. He had the great run. Jaja protected the inside on the backstretch, but X-Ice just overpowered him into the braking zone of the bus stop. Give X-Ice P4. Great comeback from X-Ice. He had that half spin earlier. Back just a couple minutes into this race. He had to keep himself parked up on the apron as the whole field came by him. Went down to dead last and is able to race his way back up to 4th. Though, unfortunately for X-Ice, he's a good 30 seconds off the podium right now. He's gonna need some help if he wants to try to catch Doge. And actually, no, normally I will admit my faults. I think that was Brian lagging and not me. If it was me lagging, every car would have been jumping. But unfortunately, Brian does have a history of some lag spikes. It looks like it cleared itself. But it was just a little scary moment there, as Zeke has gotten around Brian as well. So move Zeke up to P7. Brian was as high as 3rd earlier. Fortunately, the tire's just wearing out on him. The Audi doesn't have the hookup that it had once before. We're still waiting for 1st and 2nd place to pit. K-Dog is yet to pit. He's up through the S's. Keep an eye on Tommy. He's got 37 seconds over Doge. And the drag race is on. Tommy is coming into the pits. Gets her woe down. Doge is he's on the flat part of the boot. Running towards the heel. Tommy making his way down this long pit straight. He's into a stall. Here comes the tire change. Doge is just now exiting the boot, though. This is going to be really nice for Tommy. Waiting for the tire change. We've got our ghost crewman. All right, Tommy is rolling. Doge has just left turn 11. And actually, Doge with a great run. Tommy just now leaving pit road. Doge is in turn 1. Tommy's got the shorter path. And Doge is going to get him. But not by much. Tommy is going to have super fresh tires as they're coming up on the lapped Porsche Double Tough. Double Tough giving room, exiting the S. Very sportsman of the lapped car. Double tried to go to the inside, but that's where Tommy made his move, so he jumped back out to the left. No lapped cars in between now. It's going to be a straight-up race. Doge had the earlier pace, but Tommy has the fresher tires. It's 1.2 seconds separating second and third right now. We look up at the Acura. Our leader, K-Dog, 8 minutes to go. He is still yet to pit, and he's still turning very fast laps. He's going to have to pit at least within 3 laps, though, 2 to 3 laps. Don't want to risk trying to flirt with pitting super late and getting disqualified for it. Not how you want to start the season after having just such an outstanding run that he's having right now. Matter of fact, let's pull up our timing board. He is your pole sitter. He's led wire to wire, and he has the fastest lap right now. So K-Dog is looking to start Season 11 off with a hat trick. Alright, so far Tommy has lost 0.2 to Doge. It's now a 2.5. Excise building the gap on Jaja. Bubba and Zeke battling it out for 6th place. These drivers first started racing against each other in NASCAR heat. They've done battle and project cars, a little bit of battling in F1. And K-Dog is in. The leader has finally given up on those tires after just an amazing 43 minutes those tires went. And this is on accelerated, folks. So K-Dog pushing the tires to the very end, but still giving himself plenty of breathing room to make sure no slip-ups happen. The scoreboard's going to go a little wonky while he's in the pits, as we see some of the guys getting their laps back now. Doge now increasing that lead. Was a 2.5 earlier, now it's 1.7, 1.8 and counting, as Doge is running his fastest lap of the race right now. Our leader exiting pit road. Now he hits the track. All the deltas are going to refresh. Alright, Brian Mosser is entering the bus stop. K-Dog is just exiting the S, so that's going to put 8 cars back on the lead lap. Just Sandman, Double Tough, and Drew are laps down. Doge now. 2 seconds on Tommy. The battle for 4th, Excise. He's now got 2.5 almost on Jaja. Bubba and Zeke remains the closest battle for position going on right now. With just 5 minutes remaining in this race. K-Dog, even after that pit stop, with just a crushing 30-second lead on the field right now. Your defending champion, wanting to start the season off with a bang, and he is 5 minutes away from doing so. Bubba, very little room for error. Zeke is just a second behind. The battle for second is staying a little stagnant right now. It's staying at that 2.1 gap. Doge just holding pace over Tommy. Excise continuing just to slightly run away from Jaja. Alright, last time we jumped inside the Renault, we almost killed Zeke. So let's jump on top of the Renault, and hopefully we don't kill Zeke as he tries to chase down Bubba, with 4 minutes remaining in this race. Zeke not as aggressive as he would want to be through the bus stop there. That's going to give Bubba a big time run. That 1 second gap just shot up to 2.5, just like that. So we're going to go back trackside, and we're going to stop putting the commentator curse on Zeke. For anybody new to the channel, the commentator curse is real. I try to give all these drivers love and camera time, and sometimes I just cause them to wreck. And unfortunately, it's just part of the game. And it's not just this league, it's F1 as well. Almost 3 minutes left. K-Dog in the boot. K-Dog is 3/10 green right now. We pull up the timing board. K-Dog is going to try to go for a 43 in the race. See if your pole sitter can do it. K-Dog. Whoa. K-Dog got some curbing there. Trying to push it a little too hard. Almost ate some tire barrier. Was able to whoa her up. So what happens when we try to get a little bit too fancy here at the end of the race? K-Dog now starts lap number 27, and he still went 43.9, even with that big mistake he had exiting the boot. That Acura is on fire right now. We're going to have one more lap. Excuse me, 2 more laps. No, 1 more lap. This broadcaster is trying to get back into the timing method as well. So next time K-Dog crosses the line, it's going to be under 1 minute 40 seconds. That will be the white flag. As we go through the field, Doge now increased that 2 second to about 2.5 over Tommy. Tommy, though, with that super comfortable 31-second lead over Excise. As both Tommy and Doge are going green, they're setting their fastest laps of the race here at the very end as well. Excise keeping about a 2.5 second distance in front of Jaja. Really not much to gain for the Mercedes driver, but he does have a couple spots to lose, so Excise has got to stay strong, keep the focus, hit his marks. Jaja has been a yo-yo around that 5th place spot during this race. We've seen him fall back, we've seen him gain, go back, gain, wreck, and has regained it. So Jaja with his debut in the Lambo after driving the Ferrari last season. Trying to grab himself a top 5, and Bubba has had some good moments and some rough moments in this Acura. Holding down P6 and able to open up the gap. You see Zeke back there in 7th. Ryan Mosser holding down 8th. Sandman 9th. Double Tough 10th. And then Drew rounding out the remaining in the field with a couple DNFs. And there it is. K-Dog is taking the white flag. K-Dog running a 43.799 that time. The final time up through the S's. He's got Brian Mosser in front of him. Brian trying to stay on the lead lap. With everybody's issues earlier, Brian found himself as high as 3rd place. But after the pit stop and the tires falling off, unfortunately the speed has fallen off on that Audi, but still a respectable run for Brian. He's got to be happy with what he's seen so far, his first time back in 2 seasons. K-Dog around the carousel one last time. Entering the boot, and Brian decides that staying on the lead lap is not worth it. He gives more than enough room to K-Dog as he scrapes a little barrier there, but it's going to make no difference to Brian. He was pretty much tucked into that 8th spot pretty securely. Racing down the flat of the boot. K-Dog through the heel one last time. This is it. The timer is up. K-Dog is going to take the checkered flag, and everybody gets to cross the line one last time. And here he comes off turn number 11. K-Dog, your season's 10 champion in the Audi. He's going to start season 11 off in the Acura with a win. Congratulations to K-Dog, as he's going to go ahead and send this to the junkyard in heaven. He's going Jimmy Johnson through turn 1. He's going to fly into the barrier, just destroy the car, ripping the front fender off of it, breaks all the windows. Donut time for K-Dog. Huge congratulations. Deserves to burn it down. Oh my goodness. Tommy just disconnected on the final lap. Doge is coming around to secure second place. Tommy was safely in third. And he just disconnected. That's absolutely nuts. Excise now in the Mercedes, exiting the boot. Well, excuse me, now he's going to exit the boot. He's got Jaja right behind him, and this battle for fourth is now a battle for a podium spot. Double Tough trying to get room, slides his Porsche out of the way. I'm just heartbroken for Tommy right now. My apologies. Like, to be disconnected on the last lap like that. No idea what's going on, but coming off turn 11, it's going to be the Mercedes of Excise holding off the Lambo of Jaja. Excise is going to start the season off with a podium. Jaja finishing the damage now that he started on that Lambo. Bubba, due to that disconnection, he is going to start the season off with the top 5 finish. And then that's going to be it, as a car is flying over on the end of pit road. It's going to be K-Dog your winner. The hat trick led wire to wire. Doge second, Excise third, Jaja fourth, Bubba in fifth, Zeke sixth. Now here's where it's going to get tricky, because Tommy was on the last lap of his disconnection. Tommy will get 7th place. That'll bump Brian down to 8th. Sandman to 9th. Double Tough to 10th. And then Drew's going to round out the running cars in 11th, with Barnstorm and Puma being the 2 DNFs. Just an absolutely shocking final lap there. All right, the replay is saved. And that was it for our season opener here at Watkins Glen. All right, at this point, everybody's getting back to the lobby. The driver's going to start talking about it. Later on, I'm going to get with Tommy to see what happened there and make sure he gets scored properly. But, as it is with this channel, let's get some driver interviews going on right now. Let me bump the audio back. And let's get our podium guys in here. It's going to be Doge, K-Dog, and then a shocker with Excise. Though Excise will have a lot to talk about. Well, hey there, Precious.
Well, this is a familiar sighting,
that?
huh? K-Dog with the win, Doge with the second place.
And everything is right in the world.
Routine.
Alright, just need Excise in here, and then we'll get going. And actually, I've got to do a quick shout out. Sure Hands and Foul, thank you so much for the follows. That's super appreciated, guys.
Make sure you switch your mic too, because you
Oh,
seem far
God.
away.
Hold on. Mike is laying on the floor. There we go.
Hey, don't tell me it was like that the
No,
whole race.
the PlayStation mic is different than the computer mic. I do the commentary through the computer mic. This is why doing these interviews are a pain in the ass. But here we go. We've got our podium in here. We got to start out with the man of the hour. Your Season 10 champion. Starts Season 11 off with a bang. He pulls off the hat trick. K-Dog, my man. You made everybody wait until freaking practice before the race to know what you were driving. And you had a hell of a debut for that Acura, my man.
Thank you, thank you. I've wanted to drive that car since this game came out, and I'm finally doing it. And putting it on the top step, grand slamming it.
Well, it was definitely a grand slam. At one point, you had all but the podium lapped. And then you finally came into pit. So really, I mean, you had a good start. You were able to get a couple car lengths on Barn when the green flag flew, and you just never looked back, my man. Like, could a race like that be boring when you're out front for that much?
For some people, yes, but I just enjoy driving that car, so for me, no.
Well, good times, my man. And I mean, we knew you were going to be strong. You're the defending champion. You turned God knows how many laps at Watkins Glen in a bunch of different kind of cars. So, just a real fitting start to the season, my man. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, runner up for about the 87th time in 20 races, Doge, who we weren't sure if we were going to see him this race. Everything works out, jumps in as a reserve. Thankfully, because this is the race you sponsored. So let's talk about it, man. You had a good start. You were running podium. You found yourself in second place when Barn had issues, and then you had issues. You bent the car up. You had to pit. Were you really concerned about a podium at that point, or did you just see everybody around you and you're like, all right, I got a chance. Just keep the nose down and let's do this?
I didn't really give up. I mean, I was able to turn the car around pretty quickly, so I didn't lose that much time. I had Tommy right on my tail though, and there wasn't any broken suspension, so I thought I'd keep pushing. And I did about 2 laps, and I was like, I got to bring it in. And then after that, I just kept running, like pedal to the metal, and next thing you know, everybody, once the pit cycle came through, I was in third, and I was just waiting on K-Dog and Tommy to pit. Fortunately, K-Dog was too fast, but
Yeah, I mean, that tends to happen every once in a while. Somebody's just that hooked up, but there's definitely no shame in second. You know, you said you had that mistake. It was minimum. You made your repairs, and then you ran a hell of a race, buddy. So congratulations. Especially, I believe that may be the best like, obviously, that's the best finish of an Acura, and then you give the best finish with the Renault. So congratulations there, buddy.
thank you.
All right, rounding out the podium, probably the guy who may have passed the most cars this race. X, you had issues early. We caught the tail end of it. So what happened exiting the boot? Did you just slide the car and pretty much have to wait for the field to drive by?
The issues really started with when we went to green. I had no telemetry and I had no button set for
Oh
it,
no.
so I had no tack. I had nothing, and basically I was scrambling to get up RS dash, and I don't know. Basically in that corner, I don't know if I had damage because me and Jaja got together a little bit and turn 4 come up the hill, and I just barely touched those strips in 9, and it sent me around.
So with that though, you did the sportsman thing. You let the field go by, and then you just have an absolute great drive coming back up through the field. Your Mercedes looked like no one else going up through the S's. Was that where you're most confident in the race? Because it seemed like everybody you went to pass and everybody you caught, you were just gaining time like nothing else through the S's.
Yeah, the car was super fast through there. It was unfortunate Barn had issues going in the pits, but he stayed in the chat and acted as my spotter because I had no other display. So he just told me when people were coming up and lap times and everything like that.
See,
But yeah, the car was fast.
Barnes a nice guy. I don't care what we say about him. But
yeah, he hung on. He was giving me time remaining. I didn't know when to pay. Like I said, I had nothing on the screen.
oh well, sorry to hear that, bud. But just a hell of a drive though to come back. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little shocked that I'm talking to you right now because of Tommy being disconnected on the last lap. But that's racing, man, and we've seen it in every facet.
Yeah,
but
that's
starting the season off with a podium, man. Is this what you imagined?
I was hoping so, but after that spin, I didn't. I was just racing angry at that point. I didn't really think I was going to even get back up in the top 5. I'll
I was
take
about
it.
to say, man, it's sometimes you just need to be lucky, and it was on your side to get that podium tonight, but still doesn't take away from a great drive that you had coming back up through the field, my man. Big congrats on that.
Yeah, thank you. I've been the victim of plenty of those disconnects.
Yeah, you
I'll
have.
take those ones.
Everybody remembers Bannockbury and Spa, unfortunately. But all right, Switch, let's give it up. Starting the season off with a bang, your winner, K-Dog. Doge with second place. X-Ice rounds off the podium. Gentlemen, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, and hope everyone
Well, go
enjoyed
in
the
the
race.
group chat.
Well,
Go in the group chat and see how much fuel I had left.
did you just completely